Hey fam, how's it going? Thank you so much for joining me in this round of another All Signs Tarot reading. My messages, if you're new here, I prefer messages of encouragement, and that's usually the vibe that comes through. If that matches your vibe, maybe you'll stick around for a moment and see what kind of encouragement we can receive this time. Okie dokie. Already pre-shuffled. Let's begin with the archetypes. For those joining for the first time, my name's Amy. Hello, it's so nice to meet you. And those returning, thanks. I appreciate it. All right. Good. Again. Life is so interesting, isn't it? Just when we begin to think that we're finally understanding certain clues, for lack of better words, it's like, boop, another layer. Maybe at this point, I've in the past referred to it like a clear box where you can see through it. You just can't tell how many layers of glass are truly between you and the rest of the universe, right? The rest of your life and yourself. Maybe it's just that it's becoming clearer and clearer the more layers that we heal through and break on through, and whatever that is for us as individuals, right? Let's go ahead and move on to the Oracle. This is the Believe in Your Own Magic Oracle deck. There we go. Because ultimately, that could be, whether it's the box or the vessel, right? A part of ways that some of us have, at least in the past, honored unhealthy coping mechanisms was to not take care of ourselves, our body. This vessel that enables us to, in theory, be divine beings living within a biological human body in a human existence, expanding our souls, in theory. What is one thing, certainly for too long with many of our societies, that loud vehicle number one that tends to be under attack from the moment we're born? Our bodies. May you not come from that kind of upbringing when our brains were the most spongiest of all. But it feels like to me, in order to be a part of the society, is to be tainted at least a little bit, at least a smidge, to come up from time to time just to remind us that we too are human, right? Because that's just it. We're human. Whatever we learn, whatever we go through, we're human. Maybe this round, whatever your belief system may be. I'm certainly, yapping on about my own, aren't I? But in theory, that's the story, right? An incredible one at that. I'm down. For either way, our soul, our highest true self, to continue on. I've always had a thirst for knowledge, and I don't think I'm alone there. Learning, experiencing, chasing that horizon, right? The better we take care of ourselves, the better that we allow ourselves to heal and continue going through the layers and accepting ourselves for who we truly are, instead of imagining as someone else far off into the future that, I got to go through more trial and error before I can get there. What if you're already there, fam? We're supposed to feel it anyway, right? All right, fan. It's clarification time. That was the worst one of all. I'm sorry. I'm just like, my brain is in all kinds of places at the same time. Don't mind me. But thank you for your patience as we begin with the chapters of the story with the tarot for this round. Yes, I am a writer. Thank you for, I don't want to say bearing with me, but for joining me on this adventure at the very least, right? Chapter 1. Boosh. Tens are for the completion of a cycle. Look at all those layers. This was a very important chapter, wasn't it? A burdensome chapter. Keep going. With endings come new beginnings. And this round is meant to feel good. This is the round that it has all led up to. Everything we've learned, everything that we've been through, the worst is behind us. We've learned a lot, and we may be feeling burnout, but our passions, our drive, the whole reason for being willing to do all of this work throughout our lives is because underneath it all, underneath the survival mode, underneath the trauma dumping and everything, is someone who still has hope, someone who still wants to live and experience what life is like for the other half. Why is there a different half? Why is there separation, right? So now is not the time to give up. Now is the time, just that, the final reserves, you know what I mean? Because whatever we're doing is for the best. And we know that now. That's how we're able to complete this cycle. That's how we're able to know it's time, right? Chapter 2. We have 2 4s. And a 5. But interesting that we're staying within the wands. There's certain fires, certain triggers that we're still working through. And I don't mean to imply that even through this next chapter, there's going to be so many things triggering you everywhere you go and blah, 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 because no. Even if so, even if there are things that make you go, think of it like when they say that when you're meditating and you have thoughts, you get kind of a little distracted from your breath and your heartbeat to observe them rather than getting lost in them, right? That's what the ego is also capable of doing. Going, hey, keep your wits about you, but you know what to do, because you do know what to do. Maybe it's a haunting melody reminding you of how far you've come. Just because the cycles are behind, just because the past is the past, doesn't mean that you need to let go of the lessons. That's not gonna work. That's it. It may, it'll be a form of work, but I don't know if it's quite what we're going for. You know what I mean? It's not like you're just gonna forget people you've loved, people you've tried, moments when you really tried, whether it worked out or not. But that was then, and this is now, and that is the other side of things, right? Healthy competition, inspiration. It's okay to have feelings. It's okay to have reactions. It's okay to remember that you have every right to be here. So if people start in on you, that's their deal. You're not doing anything wrong. Doing your thing. Or why imagine that is what's happening? Why see it that way to begin with? Chapter 3. Okay then. 2 4s, 2 5s. What's up? For some of us, these limited belief systems that have been shared with us, that we've been trying to figure out, dealing with opposition, people thinking we're crazy, for some of us, or certain aspects being parts that we've sacrificed along the way because we needed to handle our business. The relationships haven't always been the healthiest. I feel like for some of us who have at any points in times referred to ourselves as pagans or witches or, doing tarot and learning things about ourselves, and then we kind of pull away for a bit, only to return. Because ultimately, all along, we're trying to figure out what it all means for us, right? So it's kind of like receiving that village card like we have a few times recently. We got to go out, we got to, mull it over, experience new things, and then have another metamorphosis. And each time, we become wiser and wiser. Right? We become, as we age, the elders, able to share our wisdom, without condescension, showing respect and receiving respect. Right? Chapter 4. The Page of Swords. The Page of Swords, like this, may be someone, if not younger, then young of spirit. Maybe this is a new adventure. And they feel like the newbie, you know what I mean? The new person in these waters. Or traveling in the air to new distant lands. There may have been times in the past when we felt like this and we were so scared of failing, so scared of making one little mistake, and everything's messed up. Oopsie daisy. Except this is a new beginning. This is the culmination of everything. So it's not like we're wee babes, freshly birthed and spongy in our brains, right? No, this is coming up after a card like the Hierophant. This is a sword. I mean, with great power comes great responsibility, right? To learn ourselves deeper and deeper and accept ourselves. We need to be able to have our wits about us either way, right? What's going to come up underneath the Ten of Wands? It's so very important. This life, the existence, right? There's so much to lose. Regardless of how well we may understand ourselves to be at rebuilding, right? Evolving as individuals or an entire race. Be sure to not cling. Be sure to At least learn how to loosen a grip on expectations. If you're open to living an abundant life, what do you have to cling to? If you're living in freedom and with the wisdom gained in doing what you know to do, what do you have to cling to? What dreams do we want to make a reality? And which dreams do we want to keep for, different adventures when we sleep? Something fun for our subconscious to do for a change. What do we have to cling to? Because if we're clinging to things like abundance, if we're so stressed about our bills and having the things that we think we need, our own chosen creature comforts, how are we truly opening ourselves up to more? What's going to come up? Oh, that's another 4. That's 3 4s. Shall we continue this theme? Oh, jumping ahead to the 8. I mean, it was going to happen eventually. We had the 10, right? So much effort, so much time and energy and determination. A lot of us are raised to think that that's what it takes, right? Blood, sweat, and tears. And we've given our blood, sweat, and tears, and here we are, freshly birthed phoenixes, right? Some still annoyed because they can't get that taste of ash out of their mouths. How else is it supposed to work out when it matters? When we're focused and being true to ourselves, trusting, learning, and knowing how to trust ourselves in the process, and remembering that even if it is some particular or another, we still have our free will, and trying to figure out that balance for ourselves. Deciding not only about our dreams, but our realities, and what questions do we really want to answer? What do we really need answers for? And what is the difference between being curious and constantly in research mode and being alive? What's going to come up underneath the Hierophant? These pillars of plenty. But now, instead of others listening to us, accepting us, respecting us, loving us, we have justice, balance. Sorry, I'm getting lost in the colors again. Justice is one of the 3 cards in the tarot where the sword goes directly up. No wavering. No need. Like we're past the point of, well, no, let's continue processing. Let's consider it's time. Karma. Fate. Enough. It's time. Do you truly believe in yourself? I think you should. Why wouldn't you? Morbid versions of the wording aside, you've come out the other end. right? If there are things that you think you still have, karmically to atone for, that's one of the elements for grace, right? Because either way, this is growth and evolution in this life. And it's time for this new beginning. It's time to move on. Line drawn, not a checkpoint. There's going to be more up ahead, but no, this is heading into a different state. Now we're going across a bridge, you're going to pay a toll. Except, either you have a pass to be able to go through and not have to toss a quarter in this round. Most of us have our cards and or things, that they can scan. Little accounts that we put money into after, we reach the minimum, and we get our little reminders. What's coming up on June? Oops, why am I grabbing this? Okay, well, let's go for it. Mother. Thus begins a new cycle. You know what? I'm going to bust out my little notes. Because something came to me last night. And that's either way, existence enables existence. Whether we're mother, father, or child, we are always all three. Including in those small things, how we treat one another, drive alongside one another. There's a plane going on up ahead. Ride in close quarters together, putting our lives into the palms of these pilots and other drivers. Everything goes into creation. The whole butterfly effect and all, right? What's coming up underneath Page of Swords? The King of Wands. The King of Wands can look back over things and is able to be comfortable, yeah, sure, but also secure, with the courage of knowing that they can handle come what may. Whatever it is, these things that we're all too often so worried about in the grand scheme of things, no, they don't really matter. But in the moments, they're very important. They're very dear because they have meaning. Our lives, our minds, heart, minds, and souls have meaning. That is what we're here for. We are meant to be having these experiences and such, but we're not meant to lose ourselves to them. We aren't meant to just simply give over our lives. I mean, there are definitely exceptions. No disrespect intended. What if we learn how to believe we are exceptional? Our own individual exceptions, anomalies, right? What's the epilogue to this story? Boosh. Moving on to calmer waters. Our minds intact. We know what matters. We know what means most to us. We know who we are. We're passionate, and full of love. We've learned in these trials and tribulations how to do the thing in our own way, what that means for us as individuals. Where I don't know where you're going, but I know you're going to be happier there. Whether it's figurative or an actual move. I do think most of us in this community want to move elsewhere. This is more encouragement, more confirmation that you're doing the thing. This is working out. This is the end of the cycle. This is fate and karma and a rebalancing. What's on the bottom? Oh, the Fool. Here we go. To new beginnings and new adventures. I think we found the horizon and learned, well, now there's another one. All right, what are the extra notes for this round? Hey, you don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step. I'm under the impression that that's an MLK Jr., Martin Luther King Jr. Quote. Feel free to correct me. We love to plan. We love to have an idea of what to do. It's part of survival mode, right? If you know how to defend yourself, then you can defend yourself, right? There's a difference between the deja vus that intrigue and fascinate so many and the fear of experiencing the same shit different day. I'm going to pull the next card, even though normally I would check the bottom at this point, because it's the Wounded Warrior card. Ew. On the bottom is I see you. That's not meant to be like you have someone's attention. There's a different card for that. So we're just going to admit, because maybe there are people from this previous chapter, this cycle that's been completing, that you definitely do not want. You're worried about particulars from your past finding you. Coming back, you know, kind of like when people win the lottery and everyone starts coming out of the woodworks. Hey, remember when? That was then and this is now. They had their turn then. Okay? Hey, them. Thank you so much for joining me for this reading and sticking through to the end. Know all the messages. Always remember that I love you.